things that we tried to do to kind of recreate that feel. And it was, Fede's idea was that we ran our entire mix through several layers of tape emulation, so it sounds like it was actually recorded on old tape.
Hi, Lee. Nice talking to you today.
Absolutely. Nice talking to you.
So you were telling a story earlier that you use meat slabs. Can you tell me what that was for?
Well, we went down to the grocery store. My effects editor, Luis Galdames, and I went down to Vaughn's and just said, hey, you throwing out any meat? And they kind of gave us a weird look, and then they came back and they had a 15-pound bag of God knows what. It was the most disgusting stuff in the world. We brought that back to the shop along with some lobsters, crabs, and pumpkins, and just got real weird for a couple hours and just made as nasty as sounds as possible. And we had this great library that we could then pull for them for the cocoon sequence or the chest burster sequence. And it was great because it wasn't like your kind of traditional drippy blood stuff. It was like kind of, the pumpkins are great because they have a real cavity feel to them, so it really feels like your chest is coming out when you're pulling it apart.
Now, as far as sounds, I mean, obviously there's some recognizable sounds. So what was the director from Fede Alvarez as far as like bringing in some legacy sounds and then creating your own sounds?
Well, we tried to be really careful with the legacy stuff because we really wanted to focus on recreating sounds more than recycling sounds. So there's definitely some legacy stuff in there, but we tried to sneak it into kind of just areas that the alien super nerds like myself would pick up on. And you wouldn't be that one guy just like, oh, I know what that is, and no one else is like, what are you talking about? Fede's main goal was just for us to create a track that was just very evocative of '79 with that retro feel, and then pepper in some legacy sounds, Easter eggs here and there.
Did you, I mean, obviously it's been many years, decades since the last one. I'm sure there's been improvements in sound editing. So did you learn about something that they did maybe on the first one that maybe you took further in this one?
Well, it was a very, very different time as far as, the technology goes when they did '79. So one of the things that we tried to do to kind of recreate that feel, and was, Fede's idea was that we ran our entire mix through several layers of tape emulation, so it sounds like it was actually recorded on old tape. And it really, like, the moment that we did it, we're like, oh my God, that's the glue. That's it. That's Alien now. Everything was a little warbly. The screams kind of distorted and broke up. And it was amazing once we applied that emulation to it, where it's just like, oh, there's the Alien glue. Like, we got it.
So how far in advance do you start? Do you start pre-production, during production, post-production?
Well, this was really cool in this example because, usually I don't start until like the director's cut's done, way down the road. But Fede, before we even shot, really wanted us to create some background sounds that he could play on set, which was the first time I'd ever done that. And it was a really, really great opportunity. And so we created, chuggy industrial hallways and frozen cryo chambers, and all we had to go off was the script. We had no idea what these locations were going to look like. And then they'd play them back on set to kind of give the actors a sense of what space they'd be in, if they need to project their voice, if they need to yell, that kind of thing. So that was really cool to kind of get a foot in the door early on in the process.
Well, yeah, it does help because that environment will evoke a certain sounds, right? So it's kind of important to have that on while they're on set so the actors can react, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's all about giving them, the best possible performance, how to react, how to project, and just kind of putting them in that headspace.
Yeah, because there's a lot of steel. A lot of metal, so you have to kind of replicate that. How do you do that?
We just tried to find things that, as far as the metal goes and everything, things that were like really tonal and kind of creepy. We wanted to have sounds that were just kind of like not so staccato, but kind of long and moany. We had a sound effects editor on my crew named Dan Kenyon that was great at that, where he just put in all these spotted backgrounds of just the Corbelan and the Renaissance station, where it's just kind of, it's always like a character unto itself, where it's just constantly kind of moaning and just weird stuff where subconsciously you're just like, I don't know what's going on, but it ain't good.
Yeah, it reminds me of what you were talking about, in the original, in the Ridley Scott, you always hear that chain in the water?
Absolutely, yeah. We did a little homage to that when Kay wakes up and she's being stalked by the Xeno. Very, very subtle, but there's a little chain and a little, raindrops in there.
All right. right. Well, thank you so much. So the sound plays a very big part in this movie. I mean, and that kind of makes the movie.
I'm glad you enjoy it. It was a blast to work on.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much.